All right, everybody worldwide, you're now tuned into Motivation and Confidence, where we help you do your daily best. And I'm your host, Tom Danger. Back this week with a new episode. Episode 46 to be exact. 6 away from our goal. Thank you for hanging out with us. Liking, subscribing, sharing. I see the downloads are going on, so I appreciate that. Various platforms, YouTube, Spreaker, Google Play, iTunes, what's the Alexa thingy, Alexa app, what else is that, did I say SoundCloud already? I can't really remember, but it's out there, so whatever you like to listen to, whatever platform you're on, it's pretty much there. I think it's coming to Spotify very soon, and appreciate the new followers. Yeah, so let's get right into it. Who inspires Tom Danger? Now, this is going to be probably a list that seems all over the place. However, my core artistry is in hip-hop, so a lot of my influences come from hip-hop. And in no particular order, but starting on the list, it's one of my favorites, Dame Dash. Dame Dash, the former music mogul, who has now turned into film and has always been in fashion, but he's really making his mark in films right now and getting back into the spirits business. And I think he's also has grown his own strain, so he's going to be selling legal marijuana. But why Dame Dash? I think one of the strongest messages that he speaks consistently is be your own boss. You're not the boss unless you're cutting the check, right? And it's totally different from what we're taught as children as to go to school, get a job, depend on somebody else. I just forgot somebody on this list that I did not add. Oh, forgive me. I gotta add him now. And I think one of the monumental moments in which he conveyed that message was on The Breakfast Club, when he just went from 0 to 100 real quick. So if you haven't seen that, check it out. It's a real dope interview. Some people love him. Some people hate him. I get inspired by him every time I hear him speak, especially being a fellow Harlemite right off Lenox Avenue, so I definitely check him out. Next on the list, another one that people may love and hate, but I also get inspired by Kevin Gates. Currently, I believe he was recently released from prison and is currently on parole in Chicago. But one of the things that inspires me most about Kevin Gates is that he is comfortable with not fitting in. If you ever hear him speak, he sounds crazy most of the time when you hear him speak, But I believe that in his message there is a undying truth. And sometimes the truth hurts, and I think we live in a society where we hear things that we want to hear. He actually says the opposite almost, almost to the point like, I can't believe he says that, or he said that. But if you really look at him, he has a very close connection with God and taking care of his family and being a man of his word and not doing it for TV and not doing it for the cameras or the gram or anything else. It's just always speaking from a pure, authentic place. Next up is E.T., the hip-hop preacher, Dr. Eric Thomas. One of the videos that I saw, actually sent to me by my daughter, was him speaking at a university where he talks about when you want to breathe, when you want to exceed, when you want to succeed, if I can get it right, just as bad as you want to breathe, then you want it, And when you listen to him speak, a lot of time he's very animated and screaming and in your face, and sometimes it sounds as if he's saying very hurtful things. But again, it's speaking that truth, and that truth that hits you in your core when you know you're not doing right and you know you're not giving 100%. He's the one that's telling you you BSing. You need to get up from off your behind and make it happen. You got to get up 3 o'clock in the morning, grind all day, go to sleep at a decent hour, get up and do it again until you attain your dream. Next up on the list, another oddity is going to be Derek Grace, or Derek 2 Grace. Found him on Instagram. Tattoos all over his face, dreads. Very bizarre when you look at him on the surface. But when you peel back the layers and you listen to what he's saying, he talks about the courage to be oneself and teaching family values of creating a financial ecosystem without depending on the government, so to speak, or a regular job. It's like, how can we as a culture help each other from simple things like, if I create a lemonade stand and I sell, 10 cups of lemonade in my community, what does that do for my people? And another person sells bread, and it's bizarre and deep at the same time. So you got to check him out. You look him up online. He's also the author of, I believe, 3 or 4 books, and he does seminars all across the United States. So definitely dig him. And now we have the larger than life personality with Mr. Sean Combs, Diddy. He basically wants it all, right? He wants it all, and he wants to look fly while doing it. And recently, since he's taken on the new name of Brother Love, it's all about spreading love and creating and celebrating black excellence. And starting out in music and going to fashion and then into, I don't know, literally he just does everything. When you think that he's literally done it all, he's doing something else. Now he's the host of, I think it's called The Four, and he got his sons coming out with music, and he got his daughters modeling, and it's just, and I don't know, the list is too long to talk about. But when you really look at his grind and how bad he wants it, it's just amazing to watch. And he literally documents everything. And if you haven't checked out the Bad Boy documentary, you can see exactly how long he has had this mindset of attaining things and always wanting things to be great. Next up, we have one of the originators of motivational speech, Mr. Les Brown. When you listen to Les Brown speak, he talks about his struggles and pain in growing up and not letting that define who he was going to be. Being homeless, sleeping in the office, losing it all, but remembering all the things that he was taught as a child when people made fun of him and teased him because he had a speech impediment, and just being able to fight through all those adversities and actually being able to be a trailblazer in motivational speech, I want to say for over 30 years, since I was a little kid. Like, he's always been out there, so he's definitely on my list. Next up, we have Oprah. Why not? Self-made billionaire, always giving to people. If you look at her life, most of it that we look at is about a life of giving. What can I do to help others? How can I contribute to the betterment of society? Some people may argue with that, but I think she does an amazing job. I think the Oprah Network and television, shows are very cool. I know that it's been sold recently, I think, to Discover, but besides that, the messaging hasn't changed, so I definitely dig that. Now we're going to go to the underground. We have an artist by the name of Illa G, who is a rapper and film director. And he originally started out as a friend of, rest in peace, Prodigy, and always wanted to get into the music industry, and no one gave him a handout, still didn't get a handout. and constantly fighting his way to make a name for himself. He's been successful in doing so. He's going on tour. He has a new album coming out called Suede Cigarettes. He's touring here in the U.S. and he's going abroad. He's actually filming the second season of his TV show, New York Minute. And I remember interviewing him years ago. And I said, well, what's the goal? And he said, just to knock down buildings and crush stuff and just let people know that I'm in here. And he's been doing it slowly but surely. Next up, from the underground, we have Youngface, who was a DJ, but also goes by the name of Life Skills Chris. And Chris basically talks about credit, real estate, and he is heavy into networking, based out of the Atlanta area. If there is an event going on, whether it's hip-hop artists, technology, or real estate moguls, for some reason that guy is just always in the building, rubbing elbows with people and just doing his thing, man. And I've known Chris now for about, almost 15 years, since we did some work together. Real stand-up guy, but I'm proud of what he does and what he represents, and he definitely inspires me. Next up, we have one of the greatest motivational speakers, Mr. Tony Robbins. Not really much to say and introduce. You can check him out. He's definitely one of the top motivational speakers in the world, up there with Eric Thomas and Les Brown and amongst a host of others. But he definitely touches your spirit when he speaks. He's another one that's bold and in your face and basically will get that energy going to help you reach that next level. Next up, we have Mr. David Banner, who started out with the trap music and then slowly just evolved in front of our eyes through his knowledge of self and teaches us how to celebrate being a proud black man. David Banner always does that, always gives back to the community, and for that, he truly inspires me. Next up on the list, and we're down to the last three actually, is Farrakhan, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who has always shown black men how to take pride in themselves, take pride in their family, and take pride in taking care of their community. And another one who is unapologetic in his message and speaks from a place of truth. Next up, we have Dr. Boyce Watkins. Found out about him recently. He's more or less a financial guru. Teaches you, like, if you want to get on your grind and you want to make it. He has the Black Wealth Boot Camp, a whole online school, series of YouTube videos. You can check him out. He gives commentary on politics, very deep. Sometimes he goes off on a tangent and he just, drops the F-bomb. He gets so passionate about what he's talking about, but definitely inspires me. And last but not least, it would have to be, not to sound vain, but myself. To get up in the morning and be able to look in the mirror and sort of pump myself up on a daily basis is what I'm encouraging you to do, because no one else is going to do it but you, so you have to be your biggest and best motivator. It's cool to listen to other people and get ideas, but you have to start within you to get yourself going, and that's what this podcast is about on motivation and confidence. It's about giving you daily gems so that you can make it through the days when things are a little rough and not going your way, and how to continually sustain once you reach that goal of where you want to go, to keep that energy going, because it's going to be a roller coaster ride. So who inspires you? And did I forget my grandmama? How could I forget my grandmama? This list is going on and on. But my grandmama, paralyzed half her body, stroke, widow. But the energy and the spirit that she has is, she's a fighter and she will not give up. And I just look at her every day, and I hope that when I reach her age that I can contain that type of energy and spirit and keep going. And she always gives me positive words and encouragement, and I love her for that. And I think it's a perfect way to end off this podcast. This has been Motivation and Confidence. I'm Tom Danger. We help you do your daily best. Like, subscribe, share, and also tell us who inspires you and who motivates you. We'd like to hear from you. And until next week.